said, we came across Canva. I'd heard about it sort of, you know, over the last few years, and knew that people were using it. And, you know, as a graphic designer, you use these like really professional programs, which trying to do everything for Conscious and then pass things over to Maddie so that she could go in and edit them easily and things. If you're using programs like InDesign, Illustrator, they're big programs to kind of get your head around, really. And using Canva, it just seems to be getting better each year that we're using it as well. And I've recommended it to quite a few of our clients when they've said, "Oh, do you do you know, social ads or leaflets, you know, anything like that?" It's amazing how much stuff Canva can actually do. So I thought I'd give you a quick kind of overview. Some of you may be familiar with some of it already. Some of you may be using it quite a lot and are just looking for a few extra tips. But hopefully I can give you a bit of an overview and then tell you some of the favorite things that I've kind of discovered along the way, really. This is the desktop, the dashboard, really. We've got our home. There are kind of like learning videos and things like that that are really easy. If there's something specific you want to go in and like practice a little bit more, there's some good tutorials you can find on here. But let me take you around this first of all. We've got our home page, and it's set up so that you don't have to have any design knowledge at all. It will design it for you basically from different templates. And it will design for documents, whiteboards, presentations, social media. This is where we started. And, you know, we were doing all our LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all of our social media posts on this, but then realizing that actually we could use our brand as well and do like document covers, proposal covers. And it's just kind of like worked its way into like almost everything we do. We realize actually we can make a really good job of doing anything that needs to go online or printed. We can actually do on here, which has been brilliant. The great thing about it as well, you can set it up as a team. So we've got, Laura is our head of our team, but we've got 5 of us on our team, and we all have access to all of the folders on here, so you can work collaboratively, which is really good. You have to be careful, like anything, to, you know, kind of save it in a good place. So, you know, the naming of your folders, saving the files so that people can find them easily. That's kind of key, and it's kind of down to how well organized you are as well. I can show you some of that as we go through. But we have projects here. It lets you kind of save everything in folders. You can see we've got an LFMC folder. We've got our own Conscious here, and we've got different kind of folders within there as well, which is really good. And then we've got our work that we do for clients as well. Now, you can also work from templates. I always tend to work from a blank canvas. So you can go in and create a design, and that will kind of have the exact measurements of anything that you're looking to design, whether that's a LinkedIn banner or an A6 postcard. You can find the exact sizes you need. And I remember when I was initially doing any social posts, I used to have to go online and just check the sizes of everything all the time. They just seemed to like change every month, and every time I seemed to do it, it got really confusing, Maddie, didn't it? So they are really on top of like the latest sizes for all of the posts that you need, which is a really, really useful tool to have as well. So that is if you're starting off from a blank canvas, it comes up with just a white board for you. But if you are thinking, actually, I would like to do a LinkedIn post, they will do different kind of designs that you can amend yourself. So you can start with a template, whatever it is you want. So say it's a Facebook post. You could start with this post and think, well, actually, I can change the image. I'm going to change the copy line. I can change the font. But the layout is there for you. You know, if you're not confident that your design skills will get you something that you're happy with. And it's really good because, you know, there are just every single style you could possibly wish for, really. So that's kind of like almost like your little backup. I think once you start to use it regularly, you get to the stage where it's really nice to start from a blank canvas and bring in your own colors, your own images, your own fonts, and your own text that you want to add as well. And then you really start to take a hold of your brand and keep that consistency. So that's a really good thing. Now, when we're talking about we've looked at projects and templates. So the brand, they do what they call a brand kit. Now, Conscious have a brand kit, and you can set it up. It's really easily done. And you title it. It's a little folder that's always in that menu on the side, but it allows you to put everything that your brand has all in one place. Now, this is really brilliant. So if you've got your team, if they always start with a blank canvas and then they start with your brand kit, you know that they're always going to use the correct fonts. They're always going to use the correct colors. They have a selection of photos that you're happy for them to use. Maybe they're, you've had a photography shoot or it's star photos. You can keep them all in there. And, you can have things like suggest a brand voice there as well, icons, graphics, anything like that. And these are really easy to add to. These are all variations on our logo. And you quite simply go to your desktop, get hold of the file and drag it in. And it's easy as that, really. And they're very easy to kind of like delete or replace, download, anything like that, extract the color palette. But it keeps everything in one place. I think often with design, one of the things that's hard to keep kind of hold of is keeping everything in the right place so it's very easily accessible, especially if there's a few of you working on the project. I'm sure Maddie's very thankful that if she goes on here, then she can find where the logo is and stuff.
Yeah, instead of me having to Slack you like, Tracy, please send me that logo, I can't find it.
Absolutely. So it allows you to put your colors in as well. So we have a random yellow here. We do have like a yellow button on our website that we don't use yellow very much, but we use our orange. We have a couple of different grays as well that we use, and I've got white in there. And even adding a new color is really easy. They work with hex colors. So you should have a brand guidelines for your brand that you'll most likely have CMYK, RGB. Always make sure you have the hex color as well, because that's almost like the one that's like going to kind of allow you to kind of like match your color perfectly. So you can see you could copy and paste your hex color in here, so whatever that color is, and then it will add your color there, which is really nice. Or you can remove the color as well. So you always have your brand colors there. The fonts is great. You have so many different fonts to choose from. Our font is Montserrat, so I've set it up to make it easy for anybody else using it as well. I've set it up that, the heading is a certain size, subheadings, but you can go in and override those. If I say want to set up, a subtitle style, I can look for different kind of, right? If say I wanted to do something that wasn't Montserrat, but find a different kind of font, they do some really great handwritten stuff, or so you can really kind of go to town on anything you're doing, especially if you're doing something that's a bit more fun. So like, here we go. It's some fun fonts. Let's have something a little bit kind of crazy in there. But we can say every time we do a subtitle, then it's going to be tan moonlight. We'll use that as our subtitle, and then we can say what size we want it as well. So maybe it might be like 32 point, but every time we go and select that, it brings in that font at that size. And again, you can kind of override it. That's absolutely fine to do. So you can have as many of these as you want as well. We've got nothing in our brand voice. I've not got around to putting anything in there, but that would be like key things that really say, how we want to come across in the way we put our brand across, really. Photos, really good place to just drag and drop any photos that you use regularly. We have a real selection of like these abstract backgrounds that we use. but it's sometimes quite nice to have them as SVGs, which have a transparent background. So you can drag in like JPEGs. It doesn't like anything that's too big. So I think something over 10 meg would be too big, and it might tell you to kind of resize it. But anything smaller than that should be absolutely fine. I found with things, you know, if I've wanted a particular shape, maybe I've made that in Photoshop first, but you could do things like this in Canva as well. And then we've got lots of staff photos that we use quite regularly. So I've dragged in quite a few of our staff. I did a project recently that had lots of different kind of logos in there. So we were dragging lots of logos and keeping them in here as well. But this is quite limitless. I think you can add as much as you like. So you can either drag in from your desktop, or you can add new, and it'll go and then find those files from your computer as well. I've got nothing in graphics. In my photos, I could have been maybe a little bit more organized. Maybe these would count as graphics, and I could put those in graphics, but I was too lazy on the day, I think, and I've just dragged them all into the same file. But I quite like to see what I've got. Sometimes I like to kind of just go and have a look and see what inspires me that we've got within our brand. And I'll kind of like use something there. So I would highly recommend, you know, one of the first things you do, if you think you're going to be using Canva a fair amount, then set up a brand kit, and you know, you'll find you'll use that an awful lot, really. So let's have a look back here. So we go back to our desktop, and there are lots of different apps as well. There is so much to explore, and they are doing things all of the time. So they're really into their AI powered stuff. I haven't even had a chance to kind of have a look at some of these, but they've got like type gradients, so different apps that you could use. Image upscaler. How many times have you had an image that is like a bit blurred or just really not very good quality? And then to be able to sharpen and upscale that image is really useful. This one I am definitely going to have a look at. Because you can do vector files. I would have always done something like that in Illustrator. I've not explored this yet, but you could be producing vector files and kind of distorting your fonts. So you'd get your really nice fonts, but maybe you're looking to kind of create a logo out of one of their fonts, but want it to be a bit more kind of manipulated. So maybe you're kind of flowing a couple of letters into each other. So, you know, this typecraft looks like you can customize your text, which is really good. All of this stuff is a little bit more advanced, and definitely, you know, when you have a bit more time on your hands. But even this, turn your images into cartoons, it's like just such good stuff. And I swear, every time I look in this little pot here, there is new stuff all the time. So yeah, so it's well worth just keeping an eye on it all. They do a lot of tech stuff as well, so it's not just about the graphics. So they have in the menu the Magic Studio that will write content, you know, much like we're doing a GPT chat, that kind of thing. It will kind of create content for you as well. That's not an area I've explored myself, but I know at Conscious it's you know, been on a lot of people's lists. So sorry.
A quick question, and I know you're going to go into this in a bit more detail, but somebody's asked if these are available on the free or just the paid for account.
Yes. Do you know, you can get the standard Canva. So I did get this one up. So Canva free, won't cost you anything. So you've got the drag and drop editor, the templates. Yes, you can get all of that. It looks like you've got the AI generated writing and designs. And you can, I haven't got to this yet, but you can actually print any documents you do. You can get a print run from Canva as well. So they have a printing operation. So if you wanted like 200 leaflets, then you could just directly do it from Canva and they'll print it all for you and things. So the Canva free is the very basic one. We signed up initially to Canva Pro, which is good, £99 a year for one person. I'll let you do a free trial, which is well worth trying. That's really good, but we found Conscious, we've got quite a few people. I think we've got 5 people signed up. I think the more we use it, we're going to get to the stage where it could be more like a dozen people would use it. It's becoming a really popular program for us to use. So you can sign up Canva for Teams as well. So that's a minimum of 299.80 a year. But this lets you have your brand. I think you can have your brand kit in Canva Pro as well. So if it's just, you know, 1 or 2 of you that you're going to be looking after all of your online and sort of printed materials, then maybe that's, Canva Pro is a good deal. But I think if it's a bit more of a team, then I think you're going to get some extra stuff as well in there.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, some of the templates and things are available in the free version, but you do have limited access to stuff. From when I've used it, personally, you don't get as much as you do, and you don't have. I'm pretty sure you don't have access to the brand kit, which, like Tracey said, is really, really useful for us.
Yeah, it definitely is. And the thing is, I think it's quite intuitive a program, so I think you learn quite quickly. And I think this is great to kind of, do this for free to start off and see how you get on with it, see if it's something that could kind of fit. But I think you'd probably outgrow it quite quickly, and then you'd find that, oh gosh, I can't use my brand kit, or, actually I want to store all of my images in that kit, and it's so much easier to be able to use everything, that you'd probably find you'd move up to this level. But even, just under £100 a year, it's still a really good investment for how much you would use it, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, so that's all of the things we've got. It's quite simple here. Everything up at the top, download the app, different settings. I've not played around with too many of the settings and things, notifications. Create a design. This is quite a regular button for me. I kind of click on here and I think, right, what am I going to do today? Maddie has asked me to do an Instagram post. It's a square one, but she wants it for LinkedIn and post Facebook and things like that as well. So I'll kind of click on here and it'll give me, she says, it's not going to. Been listening to me and saying, no, I'm not going to play.
Always the way, isn't it?
It is. That's bizarre. Okay. Well, I'm not going to go on that. I'll show you something else. But what you can do is select one of these and it should open up a new screen, and it will have a blank canvas, but it's the correct size. What I'll do is I will show you some that we've done earlier, and I'll just show you how easy it is to kind of move around the actual board and some of the menu items that we have as well. So this is, I'm afraid you can see an awful lot of orange stuff. So this is a LinkedIn banner that we've got. It's basically 2 elements. It's one background image. Here we go. You can see that's the canvas at the back. And I've actually dragged in an image there and a logo as well. Now I've got my brand kit. This is my brand kit here. So when you kind of go into your brand kit, it gives you this nice window. Because we've set it all up, we put all of our logos in there, and you can click your button to see all of them. It's got your colors in there. It's got your fonts, and it's got all of your photos as well in there. So say I wanted to change the background image, can kind of just click on that. You can see we get these little markers like this. I can delete that background image and I can select one of my other background images that I want. So maybe we'll have this one. You literally just drag it in like this. Position it with your little hand tool and then just drag it to fill the screen. So you can see it's bigger than your actual canvas. So you can kind of reposition where you think actually you want to have the dots there. And one of my favorite things that I found in Canva, because I was used to working with Photoshop, I don't know if you are aware, with Photoshop, everything is in layers. So many kind of like professional programs are working kind of layers. And I couldn't see anywhere on here where they did that. And I was having a look around here. We've got a little menu here, and we've got a menu here. This menu relates to everything on your canvas. So position is like one of those lovely secret little buttons. You click on there, it will show you where everything is on the canvas. So you can arrange it. You can move it to the top, the middle, or the bottom. You could like change the size. But the key button here is your layers. And what it will show you is how your layers are configured on the page. So we've got your background layer. We've got your logo is still there. When I dragged in the image, it dragged it on the top. So that layer, I can literally just pull down and have that below. And then I've got my logo there as well. So I can drag and move those around. And then if I want to make sure that that doesn't get moved, if I think, oh, maybe someone else is going to come along and use this banner, but I don't want them to actually use it, to lose it, you can't lock it permanently, because you can just go in and unlock it. But it stops anything being kind of moved that you don't want to. So if I think, actually, I really don't mind if somebody wants to move the background image, but I'd like the logo to always be in this position, you can just lock it then. So that won't move, but this still will. So we've locked all of that. Hope that makes sense. So that's just quite nice. So you could always drag in, another image. Page is locked, but unlock. Sorry, get my locks messed up. Unlock. All right, I think I have to delete that.
Canva is not enjoying us today. Normally you don't have to do it so on the spot, do you?
That's bizarre, isn't it? Here we go. Just not letting me highlight. It's me saying how easy it is and then getting confused.
Well, this is a new button to me, so you've practiced using this before.
Well, anyway, it's locked that background one as well. Unlock page. There we go. Sorry. It's weird because it has a lock for the page and a lock for the item as well. So here we go. You can see we can move this background image. So we could just delete that, and then we could drag in a different background image if we wanted. And then just resize. Like that. So again, that brings it in on the top. We go into position, we go into layers, we can see that's above the logo, and then we just sit that behind. There are lots of different things you could do as well. You could clip the image, so you could flip it horizontally. If maybe you want some of the darker orange kind of behind the background there. You've got like a transparency button, so you can really take it back. That's really nice for, say, putting an image over the top. I can just show you that as well in a sec. So if we've got this as a background image and we thought, actually, let's put a different kind of image that's got a lot more content, like say a digital photograph or something like that. We've got this menu down the left-hand side. So we can see things that we've used before. We've got our brand kit in there, but we've also got this one here called Elements. And another really one of my favorite features about Canva is the fact that it will let you use loads of graphics, icons, shapes, images. They're all ready to use, and it does allow you to kind of go in and edit them as well to a certain extent. But say we've gone into Elements. Up in here, I can search for, say, if we're looking for this to be, say, something to do with SEO, and I'll look for like an orange kind of theme, it'll give you a choice of SEO style photos, graphics, video, and there's some frames there as well. But let's have a look at the photos. And it will give you lots of different kind of options here. So maybe it's something, let's have a look through. It's taking a little while to load up. I just drag that onto the page. But maybe I'm not looking to have that kind of too kind of yellow. You could like have it kind of set into the background. So have like a transparent image in the background. So there's just a hint of it, something like that. Or equally, you can go in and edit your photo. And there are lots of different kind of filters. And they're all kind of variations on a theme, but we might find something that's maybe a little bit more orange, maybe. So let's have a look in Vivid and see if there's anything that is a little bit more orange in there. But you can see how you can kind of play around with like different images that you might find. And it's not saying that you would use this. I would have it so that, you'd have some sort of a cutoff point to it, because it's not going to fill the whole of the background. But you can see how you can start to kind of edit your images and kind of make them kind of sit with the brand that you're using, which is really good. This tool to kind of like allow you to bring in all of these things is really, really useful. So maybe it's even, kind of fun stuff like this. And so easy to kind of resize. Just have a little bit of fun with. And go in and change the color. Any of the graphics allow you to change the color here. So you've got your little tab. Because you've set up your brand kit, it allows you to change the color, which is really cool. You could always have, if you were to, you can copy and paste as well. So you could just do copy, Apple C. Maybe have a whole. But you can see how you can kind of use lots of different things. It'll always keep a list of all the things that you've used recently as well, which is good. But the search is normally pretty good and comes up with some really good things for you to be able to use. So I'll move on to a couple of other things and I'll show you some more things that we can use in the menu. One of the fun things to do is to be able to change your images, and it's very easy, I think, sometimes when you come to do your, if it's say like a social media post or, a postcard, anything like that, it's very easy to always kind of pick like your square photographs, and everything ends up being kind of very square, very boxy. It's great to kind of be able to have the flexibility to have like kind of irregular shapes or circles or anything like that. Now, it took me a while to kind of figure out that the best way to kind of insert any of your images is to use their frames. So again, we go back into elements. If we look at all the different things we've got here, we've got different shapes. So if you see all of the shapes they've got, it offers you great kind of basic shapes to kind of use. So you would drag one of these in. make it a certain size. All you're doing it, and it does it in proportion every time you kind of resize this box. So say you're wanting to highlight something there, somebody brown at the moment, but I think I'm gonna go in and like just do something just different. And then, you know, you can change your color there as well. So that is in shapes, lots of different shapes and rules and things like that for you to change, for use. You've got your graphics as well. And then as we scroll down, we've got different photos. So you would be searching for different photos. This is one that we've had, that we've uploaded to our brand kit. This is one of our dogs, okay, Abe. But there are also charts. The charts are really interesting. I've not used them very much, and I will show you one of those because you might find that really useful. But in this instant, we're just looking at frames. So if we look at all of these frames, lots and lots of different sizes and different shapes as well. And it will give you kind of like your basic shapes, which is good. Like ragged edge paper, like framed with flowers and things. And then there's a whole section here called blob, which is almost like one of my favorite sections, really. And certainly for our brand, you know, we've got a lot of wavy lines in there and things. So it's really nice not just to have, you know, a square photo. If you use one of these blobs, can't see which one I've actually used here, but say, let's just drag this blob in. It gives you this blob. This one's actually got a little bit of like a shadow on it. I'm going to go into position and I'm going to go into my layers. And I've got this behind the text. So just so that we can see clearly what we're doing, I'm going to move this up to the top. So I'm going to go back into elements and I'm going to just search for, say, golden Labrador. I'm sure we won't find anything as beautiful as Abe. So it's given me a choice of graphics, from photos, and from videos as well. So let's go in and have a look at all the all the photos. So he's really cute. So we could drag, because this is highlighted, my shape, I drag him in there. And if I double click it, it clicks on the actual image. And then I can readjust where in the frame I want to have the dog. So I think I'm going to have him about there. And there you see we've got our irregular shape with our golden Labrador in there. And that's much how we did Abe's photograph. But I think Abe is much, that face is irresistible, really. But with the background as well, I dragged in from our brand kit the background. And then for the fonts, I went into our brand. I went into fonts. I'll just delete this one here so you can just see how easy it is just to add your font. So anything you want to kind of delete, if you click on it, so you've got your little frame, and then you just hit the bin and it deletes it. But it's very easy to kind of bring a heading back in. So this is my larger Montserrat bold. I'm going to drag that in there. So for the fonts, now you can kind of do like the standard spacing, but I'm a real one for, I like my spacing. I like it either like letter spaced, or I like spacing to be like quite tight. So it does give you some really nice ways to kind of play with it as well. So we've got our font, Montserrat. It puts the ones that are in your kit at the top. And for our brand, we use Montserrat Bold and Montserrat Light. So they're the only fonts that I've used throughout this document. But it will also give you a choice of making it smaller. So I will make this a little bit smaller. And then you can change the color. So we've got our brand colors there, but I'm going to make this font white. and it'll let you underline. You know, these are all kind of familiar things that we see in, let's say, like Microsoft menu. And then we've got alignment as well. So you just click on this to either center, justify, range right, or range left. So I'm going to keep it range left there. We can make it a bulleted list. And then this one, much like my position is one of my favorite buttons, this one, spacing, is also one of my favorites. So if you just click on this letter spacing dot, you can extend the spacing in your lettering, or you can just make it a little bit tighter. I tend to like it about there. Each font will vary. And then I can't remember what your line said, Wendy. Was it something about Blue Monday?
Yeah, turn Blue Monday into Orange Monday.
Let's turn Blue Monday. So I'll have it as 2 lines like that, but the letter spacing is too wide there. So what we will have is, again, we've highlighted the text box. We've got our spacing and we've got our line spacing here. So much like with the letter spacing, we clicked on that and then we could drag it to left or right to make it wider letter spacing or tighter. We can do the same with the line spacing. And it's really nice because you can see it as you're changing it as well. So I would say about there is pretty good. So we've got our little cross tool there that you can see that allows us to kind of drag the text around the box and then add it to wherever we want to put it. You can add rules and things as well to kind of help you kind of line everything up. There's like an automatic kind of line in there that kind of, you can see there's a pink line that kind of gives you almost like a border that you could work to. And that's good for giving you some sort of guidelines. But if you feel like you need some extra help, if you go into File and then into Settings, it says Show Rules and Guides, Show Margins, so you can like set it up so that you can kind of drag rulers in to give you a bit more chance of kind of lining everything up nicely. So we've got, these are our rulers and our guides here. And like many other programs, you can kind of just drag them in. And then you can see how that can kind of line it all up nicely. If when you're kind of working and you think actually everything's in place and I'm really happy with that, you can go back into File, Settings, and then you can just switch that off and then it just deletes them all for you. But it's really good just to give you text that kind of lines up nicely rather than it being all sort of ragged. Here we've got, we've used just our body text. I could dragged in some text there. And then I've kind of like put a return in there as well. But to get kind of like extra kind of shapes like this, that's not like a standard kind of shape. I went into Elements, let's delete that. And I went into Shapes. And I think I searched for wave shape. I think what I used for that.
It's like trial and error is so important, isn't it? Just having a play around and seeing what you can come up with.
Absolutely. Sometimes it just doesn't like the terminology that you're asking for. And sometimes it can just be in too narrow a field as well. Here we go. So I went back to elements rather than trying to kind of like pin it down to like just a shape. I've kind of come out of that and gone into elements and said, oh, I'm looking for a wave shape. What have you got? So it's shown me a wave shape in everything really. But I can see that actually I might be able to use something that they've got in their graphics, which would be good. And this looks pretty much like it. So there's all different kind of shapes, and you can go in and you can change the colors of these as well. So just because it's purple, it doesn't mean it won't allow you to change the color. So if you're looking, I've got this background as like a block of color, this pattern, but I've put the white is a shape that goes on the top. So if, say we take this one in here, I'll keep it gray so you can see the difference. And then we go across like that. And what I'm going to do is, because my shape was the other way, I'm going to flip horizontal. And you can see how you can get that kind of curve. And then I can go in and make it white. So it gives you like a curve shape. It's quite nice if you've got, you know, the whole background is a color or a texture or an image, and then, you know, you almost want to mask it out as what you're actually doing. Things like these little bullets are really cute. You know, I've just found these in graphics. These were just fun on our Orange Monday, and in the element search, I searched for oranges, and it came up with like lots of different little icons and things, and you just drag those on and use them. I can't believe how quickly, Maddie, you said the time goes really quick. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll show you a few more things. I'll whistle through these quite quickly. One of the really useful things that we've used an awful lot. So you can set up a social media post for, say, LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn and Instagram are always square, so you can always resize those really easily. But what it lets you do as well is resize. So say we've got this square post here. This is an Instagram post, but I want to change it for you know, something else. I can go into resize, and Instagram post, I've got a 1080 by 1080. That's what I've got at the minute. Let's just show you what you've got there. But actually, I want to make it a LinkedIn single image ad. I want to use all of that same content, but I'm going to resize it. So it will give you lots of different options. So you could resize it to a Twitter post or, you know, anything else. And it will, I think it will let you do a custom size as well. But I'm going to resize, because it's a very different size. I just want to show you how easy it is to resize to something different, but using the same content. So I've selected that. We continue. It does it. It's magic stuff. And we copy and resize. Every time you do something to any of your artwork as well, it saves it for you. So this is what I was saying. It's really important. You know, you can go in and you can edit the titles of everything. If you've got something and you think, oh, actually, I want to do one of these exactly the same, but I've got different content, always do a copy of it first. So, because it will overwrite it and then you've lost your previous copy. So it's a good habit to get into. And then rename, you can just go in there and highlight what you're going to do. So open LinkedIn single image ad. It's going to open it in another tab. And it's given me all of these same elements, but obviously it's a different size. Now you can kind of think, oh gosh, this is going to be a bit crazy to kind of do this, move it all around, but actually it's not too bad at all. You just have to be kind of bold. Let's maybe make some of these shapes a little bit bigger with our text. We'll have bigger text in this green one here. promise I'll get to the shadow as well.
Yeah, you know that one's one of my favorites.
One of your favorites. Okay, and we've got this here. And you may find that, you know, when you're coming to kind of like shuffling your text around, you might think, actually, we could do with just moving some of the text around a little bit. So it just makes a little bit more sense of it. I think you always have to just kind of like just double check that what you're doing makes sense. Yeah. And I've lost my logo here. I've got a nice space here for my logo. So I'm going to go back into my favorite button position, up into layers, and find out actually it's got lost behind everything. I'm going to bring that up to the top. Make that a little bit bigger. So we've got this overlapping here. We'll have to look at where that sits. Maybe we have that a little bit further then. A little good size. And that's still overlapping a little bit. That's because it's come in as a JPEG and it already had a background. So again, we look here, it needs to sit behind these again, but you can see how neatly that just will sit underneath there and you can reposition it. So all of that content that you had on that page before, you know, you can kind of shuffle around and it's just so easy to kind of just be moving the text around and having it where you want it. This one, I've got a shape, I've got the text, so I'm grouping that. As I'm clicking on each of the layers, I'm just clicking shift to gather it, and I've got a drop shadow in there as well. And I can group these so that that just becomes like one layer that we can kind of move around, which is really good. And Maddie was saying to me before this, she said, I'm never sure how to do the drop shadows. Drop shadows are brilliant and they make everything just stand out that little bit nicer, really. So let me have a look if I've got a drop shadow on something. Here we go. Let's have a look at this one. Back in the land of the orange. So we've got a nice rounded orange box here. Now, if I just had this without the subtle drop shadow, it'd be quite kind of flat. So the drop shadow on there is simply into your elements, search. I've put maybe rectangle shadow, and it actually should hopefully give you some options in graphics. And you literally select one of those. These are, it all looks very confusing there, but it's a bit of trial and error at times, but I'm just going to go for that first one. And I'm going to drag that in. I'm going to click on that first. What it tries to do sometimes is tries to kind of sit in the whole of the new box that you've got. What's that one? That's that one. Here we go. So the drop shadow is quite simply just a graphic that's like a blurred semi-transparent, and you can have it as strong or as not as strong as you want. So I tend to make them a little bit smaller than your actual shape, and then you can decide where you want the light to hit. If you want it so that the light is kind of coming from the top and the shadow is a little bit further down. And then it's just positioning back into position layers, and then you kind of drag it down so that it sits below the correct box, which I think is that one. There we go. But you could make it bigger. That's at 80% as well. I've taken it down a little bit from the actual, so you could have it darker, so it's a very strong drop shadow, so it really sits off the page. But I think drop shadows are nice when they're quite kind of subtle, really. So I've got that at 80%. And then I've taken that down in size a little bit. I didn't quite kind of get through all of the ones. I just wanted to show you some of the other things that we've done. We've done our tip booklets on here. So these have been great. I've set them up first off. They can be anything up to like 40 pages of content. That's really easy for Maddie and Laura to go in and edit, because the content changes. You can imagine with social media stuff, it changes constantly. But I've set up, these are little frames, these phones, and they do their own screen grabs and stuff off of their mobile phone, upload them and put them in the brand kit, or just leave them in uploads, and then drag those images in. And that has worked really well, Maddie, hasn't it? So that you've got latest content and things. And then you can use like lots of different graphics. It's been really nice for these kind of booklets. One of the projects that I've been working on lately is the, doing a standard kind of PowerPoint presentation for us. And we've always done them in Acrobat, which I find a bit clunky at times, until I discovered very recently that Canva also do it. And again, you're using all of your assets from your brand kit, and the fonts all look really nice. And I've set it up so there are our round cornered frames for anybody on the team can put their own title. They can go in and edit their own title, put their name and job title. They have their content, who's the client, or then, you put your photo. So this one would be, so that one's a lot. So this one, it's not going to load it. Sorry. There we go. So yeah, I've locked these for the minute, but I've just unlocked that. So say Sarah's going to be the presenter. We just add her photo in there. It's a little bit high, so if I double click it, I can just kind of resize it. And then it makes it very easy for whoever wants to use this as their basic presentation. And we've got like standard pages, like any PowerPoint. There's, like your agenda, like a bullet list. Maybe there's a video that you'd want to put in there. Different team members and different images, different content, testimonials, title of a new page with a nice new graphic in there as well. And again, more kind of images that, again, you can kind of just drag your, let's have a nice picture of Dan in there. There we go. Any images that you want to bring in there. And then it also lets you present from Canva as well, which is really nice. So it just has so much to offer, really. We've also been doing A4 proposal covers as well. So the sizes are, there's lots of different things you can do. If you are sharing any of this as well, if we say go back to sharing, you can copy the link and send it to somebody, and you can give them access to be able to edit it themselves as well, which is really good. They don't have to be on your Canva account. That's really, really useful. You can download it. So it will allow you to download as JPEG, PNG, PDF for print, SVG, a video as well, or a GIF. So any of those are really good to use. And then you can also save to your folder. So that's where you would go and create a folder to put specific things in. But on the dashboard, it does allow you to kind of like drop and drag into certain folders. So it allows you to really kind of organize your files, which is good. And then one that we had, that I don't think we set up our socials via Canva yet, Maddie, do we? But we found out that so long as you have linked your Facebook, your Instagram account, whatever, you can share directly from Canva to any of the socials as well. I know people use like different types of program to do that. Often you've got something set up that you're used to, but there is that facility here as well, which is all very, very useful. I feel like I've whistled through those last few pieces. Was there anything anybody wanted to ask at all? So it's a bit of a
Yeah, we're
quick
not
whistle.
going to get through it all in an hour where we
Yeah.
have to think about everything Canva can do and all of the things that you've learned. So I suppose if anyone has any specific questions, or you have a play around with Canva and anything crops up that you're not sure how to do, please feel free to send me or Tracey an email. I can pass it over to Tracey if you send it to me, and we can maybe do you a quick 60-second demo on how to do something, because yeah, as you've seen from what Tracey showed us today, there's just so many different features and elements and graphics and things that you can make the most of. So there's probably so much that we haven't even touched the surface on today, isn't there?
Yeah, but it's fun though as well. And I think as soon as you start to do, if you start off simply, try not to make it too complicated. And just kind of build on that, and almost like learn an extra little thing each time you're going back. Just build it up slowly. I think your knowledge builds quite quickly, because like I said at the beginning, it's very intuitive, and before you know it, you're kind of creating like really kind of smart designs that look kind of clean and kind of polished. That's kind of what you're looking for, like a nice professional look, really.
So we have had one question actually, Tracey, which is, can you create letterheads on Canva to the same quality as the normal process?
Yep, you absolutely can. So if you were wanted to create a design, you'd create I don't know if it will let you do an A4. Sometimes it actually has, it's got a letter there, a worksheet. Maybe we look at it as a worksheet. It would like bring up an A4 document, and you would literally type in your, whatever your address is going to be. You'd have your logo as well. So let's just go into our brand kit and let's put our Conversations logo in here. So say we've got this, let's go rid of that one. You can have your Conscious Conversations. You have your text, there'd be a lot more text there, but you have your details, or your details along the bottom. And this would be, any of the content. So if you needed logos along the bottom, anything like that, it would like produce this artwork for you. So the quality of it would be absolutely fine. And what it will let you do as well is print straight from Canva. So this document has got like 2 pages, but we would just have like the front page, gives you a price, how many do you want? It does small numbers as well, but it will kind of like do up to however many. It'll do like 1,000 and give you a price for it. And then you kind of click and go, and it delivers to your door. So it is really good. So yes, the standard is absolutely fine, because what you're loading up into your brand kit is your vector files, your logos, your brand your brand logos. The fonts are all vector as well. So yes, you can absolutely do a letterhead.
We've had a few more questions as you've been talking through that bit. So if you upgrade to Canva Pro, is it easy to transfer your files from the basic Canva to Canva Pro?
I think it all stays in the same thing because you've signed up and you've created an account and you literally are just upgrading.
Yeah, I agree. So you shouldn't have any trouble losing files or anything like that. Everything should still be in one place. So if you do come across any problems, you can, we can do a quick Zoom call with you or something. Another question is, can you choose different stocks for Canva to print, and will logos come out as cleanly?
Yeah, I mean, the logos will come out as cleanly as what you've uploaded. So if you upload from your desktop and it's a very fuzzy JPEG, that's what you'll print. So it's like with any print, you need to upload, the best quality, really. So you're talking about an EPS or an SVG. The vector files for your logo are the recommended file type, really. As far as stock goes, I mean, here it's got paper type, it's got standard paper, premium paper, it's got a thicker, more durable paper choice. I don't know, I could be quite interested myself to kind of look into that. We've not printed any letterheads ourselves.
We actually haven't printed anything directly from Canva. We have a local printing company that we use that's, 2 minutes from our office. So we normally just export it and download the things that we need. Tracey makes sure it's got the bleed lines and the crop marks and all of that stuff that I know nothing about. And then we send it to our print company. But we can have a look into that a little bit more and send over some information in the follow-up email. Because someone's also asked if you can print samples before committing to a large print run. I think that's something that we probably need to look into a bit more as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like they'll let you run like a small number, but maybe not sort of 3 or 4. Maybe it would need to be more like a minimum of 25 or something. But it will let you when you share your document and you download. So if this were, if you had your own printer that you're really happy with, or you wanted to print some off on your office printer first off, just to check everything was okay, you would go into share, download here, and you'd go into PDF for print, and it allows you to put crop marks and bleed on there as well. So if you were going to send this to your printer, it will allow, it gives you a document that has all of the trim marks and the bleed marks, everything that the printer will need. And then you click that to download. So it's kind of sort of like lots of things, you can use your own printer, but you can create artwork on here and have print ready, artwork ready to go. Download it from here as a PDF, which is exactly what I would normally do if I was doing artwork in InDesign, or makes it super easy to print straight from Canva as well, really, and they'll organize it all for you.
Perfect. And that answers our last question as well, which is, can you download things as PDFs to upload, utilize on case management systems, which, you've just showed all of the different things that you can download a file as. So yeah, PDF print is probably what we'd use for the crop marks. But if you just wanted to upload it to a case management system or your website CMS or something like that, just do a standard PDF.
Yeah. The one thing I found, we had David posed a challenge for us, and that was, we have proposals that might be 40 pages long that we do in Word at the moment. We've been trying to kind of convert them over to Canva, and we can do a cover, I mean, we can do pages, but we haven't found a good way of the text rolling over to the next pages like it does in Word. We can do it on like a very, very long document, which is great if you're only going to have it online, but some clients might choose, if it's a document they want to keep and then read, not necessarily on screen, and some clients still do like to read from hard copy, then it's not giving us the page breaks. So we haven't kind of cracked that yet, but I'll keep you posted if we do, because I'm sure there must be some way of doing that.
Thank you. One final question that's just come through is, how does it work about ownership of the designs? For example, if we edit a design using AI, are we going to own it?
I believe you do. I would have to say I'd have to double check that. But I think it's like, they'll let you create logos and things in here. And I was reading the other day that, that's your logo. It's like that becomes your property. So it kind of gives over that license to be able to use the fonts, create a logo, and then you kind of go in and manipulate it. So I think once you've kind of like used it in your own way and manipulated it, yes, I think you do. But I will double check.
Yeah,
to
we
be
don't have a full AI policy yet, do we?
No, no, we
But one
don't.
of the things that we have discussed with our social media manager, Laura, is if you use AI to completely generate the image from start to finish. So one time we created an image of a brown lab wearing an orange party hat for a birthday celebration internally. And when we used that image on social media, we did say that this was completely generated by AI just to sort of cover our backs that way. But yeah, like Tracey said.
Yeah, it's new world, isn't it, really? And I think everyone's like, treading quite carefully as to, what's fully allowed. And yeah, we're just being cautious, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to stop it there just because we have run over by 10 minutes. If anyone does have any other questions that they want answered, please do send me or Tracey an email. Like I said, I'll send up a follow-up email with the recording and some of the resources that Tracey's mentioned, and I'll have a look at some of the questions that we couldn't fully answer and send some links to that as well. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time, Tracey. You made it look so easy.
Really? No,
I,
it's fun. I think the main thing is, yeah, just get in. I think you do need to kind of invest a bit of time, but if you get to practice on some really simple stuff and have a play, then it's good. And you can always give us a buzz if you get absolutely stuck and can't get past something. So very
yeah.
happy to help.
Exactly. Yeah. As you can see, Tracey's made some fabulous designs for Conscious. So if you do need anything and you want to discuss it, just let us know. Our next session will be on creating a social media strategy for law firms with our social media manager, Laura, which is happening on the 25th of April. So I will send the sign up link to that one as well in the follow-up email, just in case you do want to join. I think Laura's going to run through a little bit about scheduling from Canva as well, so it might be a good follow-up from this session that Tracey's just done for us. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and thank you again, Tracey, for all your preparation for this and just having a play around on Canva so I don't have to do it.
Pleasure.